The blue planet we live on is also home to nearly 10,000 bird species, over a third of which are migrators. For these birds, migration is a profound survival instinct. Their bold journeys across the skies, guided by the stars, have composed a grand ode to life that continues to leave us in awe. New Zealand, situated at the southernmost reach of the East Asian-Australasian Flyway, is a vital stopover and breeding sanctuary for numerous migratory birds. Its vast forests, pristine lakes, and lush meadows offer abundant nourishment and safe havens for these aerial travelers. In November, as summer starts in the southern hemisphere, a natural spectacle unfolds quietly on the Miranda foreshore of New Zealand's North Island. Thousands of migratory birds have gathered here, following the rhythms of the seasons. This assembly includes both native New Zealand species and international guests from far up north. Professor Phil Frank Batley of Massey University is no stranger to this foreshore. For more than 3 decades, Professor Batley has been deeply immersed in the local bird community. His profound expertise has given him a thorough understanding of the local bird populations and a comprehensive grasp of their migratory paths.
So it's a real mixing ground of birds from all around New Zealand and also all around the world. There's large tidal flats that run for about 20 kilometres across the south end here. So as the tide comes in, the birds all sort of funnel into a bay with a shell bank, and then when this floods, they fly across to... So it's a really good roosting place at high tide.
The Miranda foreshore is where Professor Batley often meets up with his buddy, Keith Woodley, member of the Miranda Naturalists Trust. They often exchange valuable research data and exciting new findings. When it comes to the bar-tailed godwit, Keith always has a lot to say. The bar-tailed godwit, a typical coastal migratory wader, is celebrated as the champion of non-stop flight for its remarkable ability to fly vast distances without stopping.
This is the Pukurukuru Miranda Shorebird Centre. This map is a pattern for the main migrations. These yellow arrows, each of these arrows represents a non-stop flight by bar-tailed godwits. The first bird to be tracked with full flight was a bird called E7. On the 17th of March 2007, this bird took off from here and flew directly to Yalujiang. That's about 10,200 kilometres in about just over 7 days, non-stop flight. Now that was a world record at the time.
We have a bird with a satellite tag on it. You can see the antenna. If you want to have I can find one for you. One of the birds that was satellite tagged is out here. I'm not sure which bird it is. I can just see its antenna, but yeah, so.
After 2 hours of searching on the Miranda foreshore, our crew finally succeeded in capturing the footage of a bar-tailed godwit marked with a Chinese band. Spanning the vast distance from New Zealand to the coastal stretches of China, these distant coordinates are intricately linked by the migratory routes of these birds. To safeguard this vital habitat, Dr. Thomas Evers from the University of New Hampshire is spearheading a research initiative.
We have one group that researches the temperatures experienced by shellfish on the shellfish beds out there, because there's certain tipping points in our future when those temperatures become just a bit too hot for the shellfish to live. And so one concern is that the food source of the birds could in future be impacted by rising temperatures.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles away at China's Tiaozini Wetland, Associate Professor Jia Yifei and his team from Beijing Forestry University have started their day early. They are racing against the incoming tide to position themselves optimally for their benthic organism study and sampling. This research project, now in its 5th year, meticulously monitors the birds' feeding grounds, analyzing the dietary components. How ecological factors influence the survival and migratory patterns of these birds has been a focal point of research along the East Asian-Australasian Flyway, capturing the interest of international scientists.
有这么大的这种滩涂的面积，也就造就了非常多的这种以滩涂为生的这种底栖动物或者其他一些生物在这边。底栖动物丰富了，它的滩涂面积大了，也会吸引到非常大量的这种迁徙鸟类在这边来栖息、来进行生活。
对于恒玉类来说，全球可能有记录的可能是现在210多种，我们在条子泥湿地已经发现了60种。
So, and then if they don't get enough food there, they can't get back to New Zealand, and that's a 12,000 kilometre flight non-stop. So, but the most important tidal flats are in here, in Yancheng. So it's crucial, absolutely.
So, how do scientists unravel the mysteries of bird migration? In breeding areas, wintering grounds, or along migratory routes, scientists carefully capture these migratory birds and tag them with uniquely coded bands, essentially issuing each bird a distinct passport. This not only tags each bird individually, but also serves as a universal language transcending national boundaries. These bands are extremely helpful to bird researchers. They are ingeniously attached to the bird's legs, necks, or wings, inscribed with details such as country, institution, address, a unique number, and other details. From the early use of metal and plastic rings to today's advanced satellite tracking devices, the technology for tracking birds has constantly evolved. Thanks to these bands, scientists are able to trace the magnificent migration routes of these birds, gaining insights into their lives and further exploring the secrets and patterns of their migrations.
Different colour flags used in different parts of the world. If we see a bird that was, for instance, a blue flag above yellow, we can know it's from China and it's from Bohai. If we were to find a green above blue, it would tell us it had been caught in Jiangsu.
These birds, carrying their international passports, might encounter any birdwatcher or researcher in any corner of the globe. Thanks to their unique codes, birdwatchers can collect and share related information. To improve data accuracy and facilitate banding for smaller migratory birds, Chinese scientists have been dedicated to developing ultralight trackers.
对于小鸟来说呢，一般我们安装追踪器，它的重量不会超过3%。那么我们想要更小的鸟呢，我们就需要做最小的追踪器。我手上呢，就是目前我们能够获得位置信息的全球最小的追踪器，它同时也有这个光伏和整个的这个储能的系统。那么这个的重量大概在0.3到0.4克，我们就可以把追踪的鸟类从1000克把它下探到100克。那么这个区间的鸟类，它占的这个比重是非常非常的大的。
These trackers, meticulously designed, are compact and lightweight, just like miniature backpacks that birds can carry without compromising their normal activities or migration. This technology provides invaluable data for scientific research.
现在我们在地图上看到的是，我们通过我手上的这个追踪器来对一只黑脸琵鹭进行了追踪。用这样的一个设备呢，我们每年大概能够获取它的位置信息是20到30万条，那么就可以非常清晰地描绘出来它整个在飞行过程之中的策略和轨迹。
So all across the flyway, there are people catching birds, putting these tags on, and this is broadly showing us very cheaply the links between the countries along the flyway. If there are no bird watchers, we get no records. The banding has shown us is that these birds are very site faithful, so the same adults will come back to New Zealand to exactly the same spot. And on migration, it looks like they also go to exactly the same spots on migration.
Migratory birds, in sync with nature's rhythms, trace seasonal routes between their breeding and wintering grounds, establishing well-defined corridors, commonly known as migratory flyways. Of the world's 9 major flyways, 4 traverse China, covering nearly the entirety of its vast territory.
The wetlands in China is like a cluster of important airport terminals. There are flights coming in and out. So this area is of absolute importance absolute importance for the entire migratory system. It all hinges here.
In recent years, the Chinese government has promoted international cooperation, striving to establish a global Blue Alliance for migratory flyways. In October 2024, Beijing hosted the first-ever EAAFP Flyway Science Symposium, attended by more than 60 experts from over 20 countries. This event was more than just another environmental effort by China. It was a collective global endeavor focused on protecting migratory bird habitats and boosting biodiversity conservation. The Flyway Science Symposium established a bridge for scientific exchange and collaboration, enhancing international research cooperation and resource sharing within the East Asian-Australasian Flyway Partnership, EAAFP, and the broader network of global flyway regions.
The successes of the EAFP is actually bringing 22 countries together in a way that's not political, to talk and just focus on migratory birds, their habitats, and also the livelihoods of the people that share those habitats.
因为鸟类、洄游的鱼类，它是不分国界的，是生命共同体推动了命运共同体。但是大家能够在生命共同体的这个现实中，最后走到命运共同体，能找到共识，能找到利益汇合点，能推动了世界问题的解决。
As autumn migration peaks in early November, the Tiaozini Wetland in Dongtai are thronged by an unprecedented aerial brigade, including critically endangered species like the spoon-billed sandpiper and the black-faced spoonbill.
其实720现在也不只是秋天恒鱼类，它其实你看现在水面大了以后，鸭类还是很多的。正好现在是涨潮的一个时间，现在鸟类是最多的一个时候。
With the astronomical high tide imminent, researchers from the Center for East Asian-Australasian Flyway Studies at Beijing Forest University are back at the 720 high tide habitat at Tiaozini, embarking on a comprehensive survey of this fall's migratory birds. This year's survey has set a historic record for the amount of data collected. Birds serve as both ecological health indicators and expert environmental assessors. Their data fluctuations directly reflect the subtle changes and overall health of the ecosystem. That's why this surging amount of data brought a mix of excitement and concern for Jia Yifei, who understands that any anomaly is a potential warning sign of subtle shifts and looming crises within global ecosystems. To explore why birds are so attracted to Tiaozini and to uncover the ecological mysteries behind the surging data, Tia promptly shared the findings with David Lee, a senior conservation manager of the National Parks Boards in Singapore and chair of the EAAFP's Shoreboard Working Group.
条子泥湿地的这个秋季迁徙都结束了，今年整个条子泥的数量比往年还要多一次，最多的一次单次的调查就有30万一千。因为恒鱼类还是有一种聚集的效应，现在压力很大，我感觉不应该有。
我们可以把这个资料记录下来，然后让大家这个了解一下这个情况，也提一下为什么增长的原因。是周围这个别的湿地的鸟都聚过来了吗？还是说是一个数量的增长？也是要了解一下这个在越冬地它的数量有没有增加。
David is in Singapore, a tropical country that serves as a vital stopover for numerous migratory birds.
整个这个自然公园网络呢，记录到了大概将近300种鸟类，所以是整个新加坡的大概这个70%以上。保护这些鸟类，一个国家做是不够的，因为它们进行长途的迁徙，使用很多国家的湿地，所以说呢，就是要迁徙路线上的国家呢一起合作。中国跟新加坡呢，我们也签署了很多的备忘录深度多样性保护备忘录，然后红树林保护备忘录，双溪部落保护区还跟这个咱们香港梅浦保护区，还有这个上海的崇明东单保护区，都签署了备忘录，进行这个合作，作为姐妹湿地。
在我们的观察，水鸟方面，我们看的比较多的是玉类跟鸻。那么这类的有新加坡跟中国标志鸟呢，几乎每年我们都有看到。这里它就凸显了我们这片湿地跟中国的湿地事实上是一片相连的。那么在江苏那一带的鸟，我们这边也有记录到，甚至连续记录了3年。所以这片湿地呢，可以说是整个迁徙路线里面的是一个驿站。
International exchanges and collaboration, like threads in a tapestry, tightly weaves together each stop along the flyways. Nations are joining hands to safeguard the migratory journey of these birds. To address the ecological challenges posed by dense bird populations, the Chuanshui Bay coastal area, 40 kilometers from the 720 high tide habitat, is fervently advancing a new bird sanctuary project. Covering nearly 1,300 hectares, this project is located within the buffer zone of the migratory bird sanctuaries along the coast of the Yellow Sea Bohai Gulf of China, Phase 1, marking China's first ecological restoration project at a coastal heritage site. The Chuanshui Bay project leverages 720 high tide habitats' past restoration successes to better cater to the distinct habits of various bird species, like shorebirds and waterfowls.
这个前面呢就是淡水湖泊区域，再往那边走呢就是海水湖泊区域了。在这里面呢，不同个头大小的小鸟呢，可以按照它自己的需求去选择更好的一个栖息地。比如说，在我们前面呢就能看到有很多小青角鹬，这个也是国家1级的珍稀鸟类。其实这里呢也是成功复刻的720高潮位的成功经验。
These strategic measures have crafted a customized luxury home for migratory birds, attracting an increasing number of them to dwell and feed here, enjoying their new home.
中国对环境的保护呢非常重视，制定了很多的条例管理的，甚至是法规，来保证这个湿地可持续的发展。同时呢，也组织了很多的人力，投入了资金来保护这个湿地，尤其是在河口三角洲呢，投入了科研、工程和实际的改造来保护这些湿地。所以说，中国从政府到群众到科研人员对这个湿地的保护呢，是非常用心用力的在去做。
To further enhance wetland conservation, the Tiaozini Wetland Research Institute was founded in 2021. In close collaboration with domestic universities and scientific institutions, it conducts extensive research on bird ecology, benthic organisms, plant diversity, ringing and tracking, and carbon sequestration. With over 200,000 samples collected and studied, the institute supports wetland conservation efforts with solid data and serves as a platform for exchange and cooperation between Chinese and overseas scientists.
То есть здесь работают и прекрасные дизайнеры, и хорошие ученые, и у них имеется долгосрочная программа исследований, и понимание, как это должно работать. И вот приглашение сюда специалистов из России тоже очень важно, потому что мы понимаем, что только совместными международными усилиями можно делать хорошие научные проекты.
То есть это именно сделано не просто для профессиональных наблюдателей птиц, которые могут приезжать считать, а еще и для широких масс населения, которые тоже могут увеличивать свои познания в направлении изучения птиц и просто познания природы и развития любви к природе. Все это очень важно в плане экологического образования. То есть вот
Since ancient times, humans have settled near water, and civilizations have thrived because of it. China's wetland conservation measures not only provide a tranquil shelter for creatures of the sky, but also contribute unique insights and experience to global ecological protection. Since 2012, China has been dedicated to advancing a series of wetland conservation and restoration projects, implementing over 3,400 initiatives and successfully adding and restoring more than 800,000 hectares of wetlands, making a significant contribution to the global ecological landscape. Meanwhile, China has adopted an open approach to international wetland conservation cooperation, working hand in hand with countries worldwide to forge a new vision of green ecology. The migratory routes of birds act as invisible threads that stitch across national borders, elegantly mapping the paths of life. Annually, tens of millions of migratory birds rely on Chinese wetlands like those of the Yellow Sea for their vital stopovers. Their presence also weaves China's wetlands into the global ecological network. Today, as our gaze stretches across the mountains and rivers toward the wider global stage, these wetlands serve as verdant links, connecting every land, every nation, and every life, weaving a symphony of harmonious coexistence between humanity and nature.